With text complexity, I have throughout the year I've been very cognizant about what I'm doing to help students access what is being taught through a fourth grade text. And I'm often surrounded by, well, we have to use kid-friendly language, we have to bring it down, we need to use a lower level. And throughout the year and throughout my conversations, that's not what we want to do, because my students won't make it. They won't be able to enter more difficult conversations when they're in middle school, when they're in high school, when they're in college. And I know that I try to keep it at a higher level, but I also know that the instructional part has to come from me. That's the knowledge. I'm the knowledgeable other. And at this point, which is shifting, because my students are now assuming that knowledgeable other. So that text complexity, I've been spending a lot of time thinking about that, and also implementing, as I do small groups, as as my students are involved in small groups, or when I'm getting ready to teach a lesson, I am making sure I'm not bringing it down. One of the things that I've told colleagues is, oh, they're not getting this. They're not getting this. What do I need to do? Well, that's hard. The text is hard, but I don't want to change the text. And so just the other day I ran down, this was one of my struggling groups, and we were talking about a certain question that was more of an open-ended question. And my students know when the progression that I start them with, when the answer is right there, and they know that that's very easy. But then when I shift it to where it's the author and them, and the piece is in different parts of the text, we came across a very difficult question. And I caught myself trying to not paraphrase, but to say it in a way that that gave them, that would tell them they didn't have to work as hard. And so I had the opportunity to run down the hall and go to my instructional coach and say, okay, I'm starting to understand this. And so she was able to say, what do you mean, text complexity? And so we had this conversation, because she's at the level of, she's an instructional coach, so she's also talking a lot with teachers with Common Core about what does this mean, and especially for our population. 40% of my students are proficient. And I'm in an intermediate school, 3rd, 4th, and 5th. And these students will be going to, 200 of them will be going to middle school next year. And so she understood that.